If you are a diabetic and have tried to find why it occurs, you must also be familiar with the term insulin resistance. So what exactly insulin resistance means and how it affects your chances of developing diabetes? Well, let's find out. Insulin resistance is a state commonly linked to prediabetes and diabetes. When you say a person has insulin resistance, it means his or her body is unable to respond to the hormone called insulin as efficiently as it should. Insulin is a hormone secreted in the pancreas. It helps to regulate the levels of sugar or glucose circulating in your bloodstream. It is this glucose that gives the cells in your body the energy they need to perform their functions. However, having too much glucose in your blood does not mean your cells will have more energy. On the contrary, it can be extremely harmful to your health. Let me explain why. Insulin is a key factor that plays a role in the development of type 2 diabetes. Though we can't survive without insulin, this hormone is also responsible for putting us at risk of diabetes. Insulin is responsible for regulating the glucose level in your blood through a very complicated process. To understand how insulin works, let's first check some simple basics of this hormone. Insulin secreted by the pancreas plays a key role in regulating the amount of glucose circulating in the bloodstream. Although insulin is primarily implicated in the metabolism of carbohydrates, it also affects the metabolism of other nutrients like fats and proteins. When you eat a meal, the carbohydrates in the foods are broken down and transported to the blood. As a result, the amount of sugar in your blood increases. The cells in the pancreas sense this rise in blood sugar level and begins the process of releasing insulin into the bloodstream with an aim to reduce the amount of sugar in your blood back to normal. Insulin secreted by the pancreas then travels to your bloodstream, telling the cells to pick up sugars from the blood. This process results in a decline in the amount of sugar in your blood. At the same time, it also ensures that all the cells in your body are receiving an adequate amount of glucose to fuel their functions. However, sometimes the cells stop responding to the hormone correctly, and this is when the state of insulin resistance sets in, putting you at risk of type 2 diabetes. When the cells do not respond to insulin, the glucose in the blood is not taken up by them. As a result, the blood glucose level remains persistently elevated. The higher blood glucose level in turn sends signal to the pancreas to secrete more insulin, the same way it does when blood glucose level rises after a meal. This is how insulin resistance forces the pancreas to produce a higher amount of insulin in order to lower the blood sugar levels. This obviously leads to a higher amount of insulin secreted by the pancreas, leading to a condition called hyperinsulinemia. The higher amount of insulin secreted by the pancreas helps to bring down the blood glucose level within the normal limits, but only initially. Over a period of time, the cells tend to become increasingly resistant to insulin, resulting in the rise in both the insulin as well as the blood sugar level. Eventually, the pancreas becomes inflamed, overworked, and damaged, due to which it loses its ability to produce even the normal amount of insulin. This leads to a further rise in your blood sugar level, as a lack of insulin causes the glucose in your blood to remain unutilized. The diagnosis of type 2 diabetes is made once the blood sugar levels exceeds a certain threshold. This suggests why it is important to be aware of what insulin resistance means, why it occurs, and how to avoid it. Let me introduce you to another concept that will make it easier for you to understand insulin resistance. The term insulin sensitivity refers to the ability of the cells to respond to insulin in an efficient manner. A higher insulin sensitivity implies that the cells are able to take up glucose from the blood more easily, allowing your blood sugar level to remain stable and within normal limits. It also implies that the cells are receiving an adequate supply of energy to perform their functions. This means insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance are the two sides of the same coin. When you have insulin resistance, your insulin sensitivity is reduced. Conversely, when you are more sensitive to insulin, you have low insulin resistance. Insulin resistance can be harmful to your health, whereas insulin sensitivity can be beneficial. The risk factors associated with a higher risk of developing insulin resistance include advancing age, obesity, an inactive lifestyle, a diet high in carbohydrates, a family history of diabetes, presence of comorbidities like non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and polycystic ovary syndrome, poor sleep habits, long-term use of steroidal medications, and smoking. Insulin resistance is a hallmark of two common conditions: type 2 diabetes and metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome refers to a group of risk factors linked to type 2 diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, and stroke. Several other illnesses including polycystic ovarian syndrome, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, cancer, depression, dementia, and Alzheimer's disease are linked to insulin resistance. Here are some ways to reduce insulin resistance. Eat a nutritious and balanced diet. Reduce your sugar intake. Exercise regularly. Lose belly fat. Stop smoking. Avoid processed and packaged foods as the additives and preservatives in them could trigger cellular inflammation. Consume foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids like flax seeds, olive oil, and avocado. Make sure you get a sound sleep of 8 hours every night. And reduce stress by practicing yoga and meditation. Your lifestyle and diet play a key role in determining your risk of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. It is possible to avoid insulin resistance and prevent the development of diabetes and other complications by eating a balanced diet, maintaining adequate physical activities, and adopting a healthy lifestyle habit. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share the content with others. I also ask that you subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon to get notified whenever I create new videos like these. I hope this was informative enough. If you have any suggestions or things to add, comment down below and share it with us. Your input is always welcome. So until then, see you in the next video.